Leave Dave Chappelle alone. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Dave Chappelle being in hot water yet again with the LGBTQ LMNOP community after his most recent Netflix special, The Closer, has debuted to the world. Now, I've seen the special from beginning to end. I didn't just see little clips here and there online, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really good. I suggest you watch it. It was just comedy. You know, one thing about comedy is that it shouldn't be constrained. It shouldn't be contained. There shouldn't be things that's off limits. Joke about whatever you want to joke about. I don't care if it's about me, if it's about you, somebody that you like, your mama, your daddy, your auntie. Joke about everybody because it's all comedy. It's not meant to be mean-spirited. It's not meant to be hateful. It's just jokes. Laugh a little. You live longer. I think the LGBTs, meaning those that are in power, those that want to try to manipulate and change people and try to dictate how you live, I think they don't want that to be the case. They only want certain jokes to be out there, not about them. Because the problem with jokes is that sometimes, well, a lot of times, the best jokes are true, but it's funny. It's funny because it is true. Let's back up a little bit to explain what's going on so we're not lost in the sauce. Now, Dave Chappelle focused a lot of his energy in the special on the whole LGBT and trans community. Okay. He mentioned a couple guys that have been in the news lately for saying, I guess you would say, disparaging remarks about LGBT. Guys like DaBaby, Kevin Hart, girls like the Harry Potter lady, I forget her name. You know what I'm talking about. J.K. Rowling. He defended them and made jokes. Told history. They don't like that too much. There's a trans person on Netflix. I guess her name is Jacqueline Moore. And they came out talking about, well, I was a big Dave Chappelle fan. Now I can't be anymore. All this, that, and the third. Because, you know, I'm a real person. I'm a trans person. I'm a real woman, all this and that. And all that this person did, in my humble opinion, by going out there and screeching about Dave as a fellow quote unquote Netflix contributor, Netflix content creator, all that they did is give Dave Chappelle another bit. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You have a trans white woman who is an executive producer on a show called Dear White People, which is about a bunch of black kids going to a white college. So you are a white executive of a black show and you're trans. You cannot make this stuff up. You gave him more material. That's funny right there without making a joke about it. So if he jokes about that, is it a bad thing? Why is it a bad thing? I don't really understand. Dave talked about how the media wants to manipulate people into believing a certain thing. He said he was doing some transgender jokes back 16 years ago in Oakland, and there was somebody in the audience who didn't like it. And they shot it up, talking about some, you're transphobic and you're punching down, all this and that. And then a couple of days later, everything that person said at the show wound up in the paper. So then he kept getting approached by people throughout the years talking about, oh, you're punching down, you hate trans people, all this, that, and the third. He was like, look, it's just jokes. I don't hate anybody. They try to put him in little traps to get him to see things their way. It's like bullying, right? Here's an example that he told. He's in Ohio. I'm not sure what it was. I'm not sure if it was after a show, before a show, just by his house or whatever the case. He's talking to this lady and he thinks that she may not know who he is really, because not everybody knows who you are. You're a big time celebrity, Dave Chappelle, whatever. Not everybody knows you. So they're talking and the person is talking about their daughter going to Hollywood and how proud they were because they got all this stuff going on and they're doing big things. He's like, I bet she is doing big things in Hollywood, but different story. Anyway, the person pulls out a picture of their daughter and they give it to Dave. Dave looks at it and is like, oh, your daughter's beautiful. Gives it back to her. And then the person has this real mean look come across their face. Real mean, angry look. And they say, my daughter is trans. They was like, you know who I was. Like, she set Dave up to say that this trans person was attractive when really Dave could have said, hey, You got this big, thick Joe Rogan neck, crazy jawline. He made that joke about trans and stuff like that. That's what they don't like. GLAAD put out a statement, and I'll place that on the screen before you're talking about Dave Chappelle's brand has become attacking trans people and marginalized people. And they also attacked Netflix, talking about their platform propping up this anti-LGBTQ LMNOP rhetoric, right? They don't like that. But the special wasn't even really trying to attack trans people. He was just like, they people too. They can get joked on too, the same as anybody else, right? Don't get offended. Like he said a joke about Mike Pence in the skit. Now, I'm a big fan of Mike Pence. I like Trump and Pence and the whole thing. And the joke he said about Mike was that he was in the closet gay and he was trying to pray it away. The joke was hilarious. Now, somebody might get offended because it's, I guess you would say, anti-LGBT, or because they like Mike Pence and they're conservative. But if you take all that away, take your labels away when it comes to comedy. Take away that you're LGBT or you're conservative or you're white or you're black. Just laugh at the joke. If it's funny, then it's funny, regardless of what. I like Mike Pence, and the joke was hilarious, period. Period. Because it was a joke. It's funny. It's comedy. Now, in the special, Dave, I think, tried to extend an olive branch to the trans community or to the LGBTs or whatever. He told a story toward the end, and I don't want to spoil it too much, about a good trans friend of his who understood the jokes, and they were cool. They were cool because the person understood this is not an attack against me or anything like that. I'm not offended. He is a funny person, one of the best to ever do it, and that's how we operate. I laugh at the jokes and that's it. The LGBT establishment may also not like Dave because he kind of like threw Twitter under the bus. He was like, that's not a real place. I don't care about getting dragged there. And a lot of what they do, the bullying, I would say, is they attack you on social media. And that's a real tool. If you losing followers and whatnot, but he was like, that's not a real place. I don't care about that. So they can't really antagonize him. All their attacks don't work and they don't like it. It was the same thing in the last special. Okay. It was the same exact thing. You can't cancel Dave Chappelle. They're getting frustrated. He'll keep telling these LGBTQ LMNOP jokes. And what are you going to do about it? The special was great. You got to watch it. And there are some of his Netflix specials that are better than others. I didn't like the 846 or whatever. I felt like he was too angry in that. It wasn't really comedy, you know, but I still think that he's the best comedian, one of the best to ever do it. Even when I said, you know what, I don't like that particular special, I will never say, let's cancel Dave Chappelle. He sucks now. In my negative review of that particular special last year, I still said he's one of the best to ever do it. I still support whatever he says. I might not like it, but he has the right to say it, period. That's the way it should be for everybody. I don't care what you identify as. That's it. So if any LGBTs out there, you're upset, okay, that's fine. That's your business. All right. You have the right to feel that way, but don't try to cancel the man because he defended the baby for his quote unquote homophobic comments, or Kevin Hart or anyone else. As I close, I want to say this. Shout out to everybody that's part of, I guess you would say, the LGBTs that's not so soft. You know, it's just like you have gay men. I still call you sir and whatnot. You're still a man at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I have an uncle that's gay, and he's still a goon. I ain't going to cross him, disrespect him, because I see him fight people, knock guys out, clean, smooth out. You got a whole drag queen knocking you out. Boom. He's not soft like that. He could take jokes and he can knock you out too. But he's not going to get so offended and triggered at jokes that he'll get to be violent. You understand what I'm saying? The violence and the threats of canceling and the threats of removing money away, taking you off shows and trying to get you to apologize to 1,000 organizations. That's so dumb. Let comedians be comedians. Let, you know, rappers be rappers, singers be singers. Let artists, let people be people, and have that be that. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How'd you feel about Dave Chappelle's special, The Closer, if you've seen it? Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. How do you feel about the efforts, the continued efforts to try and cancel Dave Chappelle? Are they successful? Are they unsuccessful? Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm standing. I like Dave Chappelle, one of the best guys to ever do it. One of my favorite comedians. You know, I enjoy comedy. You know, I like personally doing one-liners. That's what I'm good at. I'm good at one-liners, right? I identify as Thomas Tank Engine. I like those kind of things for my personal comedy. But as far as who I watch, who I like to see their special, I like to see Dave Chappelle, George Carlin, Chris Rock. I like to see guys that are kind of coming like philosophers that give you life lessons and make it funny, easy to stomach. So it's not so much like you preaching and trying to force something down somebody. It's, here's a joke. Did you laugh? If you laughed, it's probably true. And a lot of these people in the LGBT establishment may not like that too much. So they're trying their best to cancel this man, and it's simply not going to work. So you may as well stop trying. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.